have to have that off.
Okay, so here's the deal.
And da-da-da-da-da.
Right?
Well,
Theoretically speaking.
hey guys, what's up? We're on episode 6 of the Theoretically Speaking podcast. I'm Cassie, here with Harper. What are we going to talk about today, Harper?
We're going to talk about what it would be like if you could shrink your car down to clean it, and then go more about shrinking things. And then for our spooky theory... Oh,
Harper.
jeez. One moment. Oh my goodness.
Harper.
This week on the Theoretically Speaking podcast, we're going to be talking about car shrinking, dogs rule the world, and mummies and why people are scared of them.
Yep, why they come to life.
So,
Let's start with shrinking cars.
okay. I think it would be really cool because I oftentimes have a messy car. Because I live out of it right now. It feels like driving back and forth a lot. I have a 1-hour commute to college, for those of you who don't know. So when I'm in my car, I just kind of throw my trash there. And when I get out of my car, I've been in my car for so long, I don't want to deal with that trash.
Same. Except for without the 1-hour commute.
Yeah.
I'm just a trashy person.
I'm a little bit of a trashy person too. It just makes it worse.
Yeah.
So I think it would be great if I could shrink my car and clean it out that way and then make it big again.
Here's the thing. If you shrink your car to clean out the inside, then you'll probably miss a whole lot of stuff.
Like crumbs and stuff.
But if you... I think that's a great idea for the outside.
I'm thinking I can open the doors like a little toy car and use tweezers and get things.
Yeah, but that almost seems like more work.
It seems worth it to me.
I would shrink my car to clean it out to clean the outside.
I rarely
I would
clean
shrink it
the
down
outside.
to my phone size.
Yeah.
And then wash the outside. And I think that would be good.
You would have to be kind of careful though. I feel like. I guess not, because when you take a car through a car wash, nothing bad happens.
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking about what if the hood pops up or something, but it's probably secure because it's your car. It's just small. And then that made me think of the great idea, because I leave my jacket a lot of places. How nice it would be if I could just
Yeah, I leave coffee mugs a lot of places.
Yeah, if I could just shrink things and maybe put them on a key ring, or have a fastening button to me somewhere.
Yeah, I totally would shrink down a coffee mug.
Mm-hmm.
Rinse it out, shrink it down, and put it in my purse so that I wouldn't have to lug it around.
Yeah. The only problem would be...
Or, in my pocket.
Yeah. And then you would just have it. But then what if you wash your jeans with your coffee mug in it? I always check my pockets because...
I always check my pockets.
Yeah. Because I know that I
knows
probably
what I
left
have
some in there. I'm like, there could be an important bill in these pockets. I don't know. Or an electronic device.
I just always check. Sometimes I would wash paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'll open up the hood and I'll open up the lid to the washing machine and it'll be little white lint all over the place.
Oh yeah, that's so annoying.
So I pretty much check my pockets now.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I washed my earbuds or something. It was something important. It could have been money and it kind of got too ripped. I don't remember. But something caused me to always check my pockets.
Yeah, I've washed a couple of chapsticks too. Mm-hmm. They don't get messy, but they do get messed up, which is sad.
So yeah, and then I looked up a couple articles on if shrinking, with a shrink ray, because shrink rays appear in science fiction all the time.
Yeah.
If it's possible. So I have one that was published in 2015, around the time Ant-Man came out, because Ant-Man shrinks, and Keith Wagstaff at NBC News titled it, "Why Shrinking Like Ant-Man is Impossible." And basically, what he said. He got his information from Eric Aver, an assistant professor of physics at Gonzaga University. That one sounds good. And he said your atoms would either have to shrink or you would have to be made out of less atoms. And atoms don't shrink. So it's not really possible, because if you were to shrink, some of your atoms would have to disappear, which would mean that, like, part of you would not be there, probably. Yeah.
I don't know if I trust these scientists.
But
I think they know everything, but they don't know anything.
Yeah. And they did explain about, like, the atoms, removing atoms. They said it could theoretically work up to a point, because there's a minimum number of atoms. I will not answer this right now. So it says, theoretically, one of my favorite words. Theoretically, it could work because there are a minimum number of atoms that make up a cell wall or strand of DNA. So you wouldn't want to lose a part of your body.
Right.
Like, walking around with no hand as a small person. So you would have to remove atoms from your cell walls and DNA. But I think that if you were to remove those, you would definitely, it would change stuff about you. Probably because your DNA is what makes you you.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So you could,
I don't know. Atoms could shrink. Nobody knows.
well, they say that it can't.
Have they ever tried it? Probably not.
They say the average distance between the protons and neutrons that make up the nucleus of an atom and their surrounding electrons can't be changed. Even if somehow a mad scientist could shrink all the atoms in someone's body and bring her to the size of an ant, that person would become so dense that she might sink through the earth.
Oh, geez, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that was kind of like another part of the keychain theory that I'm calling it, like where you shrink things down to where you can put it on a keychain, is that it would remain heavy, which would be annoying.
That would be really annoying.
Science is annoying, is the end of it. But it does say that you could probably shrink Paul Rudd, who plays Ant-Man, from 5'10" to 5'2", but not down to the size of an ant. That is Keith Wagstaff's.
Well, Keith, I don't think you think you're as smart as you are. I don't think you are as smart as you think you are.
Now guess what?
What?
I have another article.
Does this article completely contradict the last one?
A bit. So, 24th of August, 2016, from Electronic Specifier, written by someone. Really, it just quotes the source, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which I've never heard of. Most of you probably haven't either. But basically, they're developing these things called precision gyroscopes, which measure rotation of atoms, and the National Institute of Standards and Technology believe that could be developed into an atomic gyroscope, which could, with further development, be portable, low power, and accurate enough to be used for navigation, which would essentially be a shrink ray. So
that was a lot of science, and I don't think that I fully followed it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I felt while reading this.
But what I am hearing is that it's possible to invent a shrink ray.
Theoretically speaking, it is. But that is like, they have not tried it. They have not tried it for that specific use. But it says they have been working on various mini gyroscope designs for about 10 years. And so, just to like give you a good definition, and me a good definition, a gyroscope is a device that has a wheel or disc mounted so it can spin rapidly about an axis, which makes it free to alter in direction. The orientation of the axis is not affected by the tilting of the mounting, so gyroscopes can be used to provide stability or maintain a reference point in navigation systems, automatic pilots, and stabilizers. So I'm not really sure how that relates to a shrink ray, when it's mostly like a stabilizer, maybe it's like so it could stabilize.
A shrinking?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I don't know. I feel like I needed more research, but I wasn't even planning to research this topic at all. Yeah. I thought it would be more of a hypothetical.
Yeah, that's definitely more of a hypothetical. I like to keep it hypothetical because it makes me sad to think that it's not possible.
I totally agree. I just think, like, we've been doing so much research lately that now I feel a bit more like, oh, I could research this.
Yeah.
Which I did kind of bad research, guys. I did not really look it up very, very much. But I liked that I was able to find 2 different articles with 2 different theories on it.
I like that too.
Yeah. Basically
science is stupid.
And shrinking wasn't possible in 2015, but it was possible in 2016. We still have no evidence today.
I just think that the scientists haven't found the right tool for shrinking.
Yeah. I feel like...
Because really, honestly, how far have they looked into the ability to shrink somebody?
What?
Not very.
Because you don't think it's, like, something they'd actually need?
Yeah.
Shrink rays would be for funsies.
Yeah. And scientists don't do funsy things, because funsy things don't make money.
Except when they do.
Yeah.
Which is probably not what a scientist wants to do.
Right.
Okay, so, next topic.
Dogs ruling the world. What would it be like?
Yeah. I had a book that I absolutely loved as a child. It was a little picture book, and it was like a 1-chapter sort of thing that I loved, as I said. And Dogs Ruled the World, and I read that book so many times and, like, never got tired of it. Because I am a bit of a dog person. Like, I like cats okay, but I just love dogs.
Yeah.
So I guess if I had to choose, I'd choose dogs. But I'm not like an anti-cat person. Don't put me in a dichotomy. So in the book, it was kind of like everything just switched place, but there were no other animals. There were just humans. Humans and dogs.
That's it?
Yeah.
What happened to all the honey?
There were no honeys.
No bees. No honey.
And I don't know. I never saw any insects. Maybe they were too small. Maybe the artist didn't include them because they were like, that's not important.
Maybe it was not all of the animals. It was just dogs that traded places with humans, and the other animals still existed, but they weren't important.
Yeah.
They weren't
the
crucial part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like in the book?
It was really interesting. All the humans still wore clothes. So, like, and, dogs don't wear clothes, really. So,
yeah.
The dogs in the books didn't wear clothes either. So, it was kind of like everything was the same in a way, except humans weren't intelligent beings.
Oh.
And didn't, seem to speak to each other. They, everything about them was dog-like, except for, clothing, things like that. And they did eat, people food, if I remember correctly. But it was just different. It was just so odd in some ways. And, they showed them, going to a pet store and picking out a baby and things like that. And I was just like, man, that is so weird.
That is weird.
And it was showing the puppy grow up with the human, except of course the puppy grows up much faster and things like that. It was really cool. I always liked the idea of, as a kid, not in
I've been this dog's human since generations.
Yeah. Actually, and what would be weird, it didn't get into it in the book, but dogs' lifespans are so much shorter than humans. So I wonder if that would switch.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think it would be like in real life? Not based on the book. What do you think?
Not based on the book.
Be like?
I think it would be funny if the dogs continued to walk on 4 legs and humans continued to walk on 2 legs. And the dogs just kind of had a leash in their mouth and just connected to the human. And the human was just kind of complacent. And
so you think that
stuff.
okay, here's my theory. Dogs are actually more intelligent than we give them credit for.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
And they band together and rise up.
Oh, you're going from full history.
Full history.
Okay.
They rise up and take back the authority.
Bite the hand that feeds them.
Right, that they may or may not have ever had.
Mm-hmm. History doesn't tell us because it's censored.
They start putting collars on their humans.
Mm-hmm.
They develop science that lets them speak. They get little voice boxes on their neck like Lady Rainicorn in Adventure Time, if you've ever seen it. And humans are like scared because dogs have all the power now. Mm-hmm. Because they're intelligent, and even though they don't have thumbs, they've been plotting for a very long time. That's what I think would happen if dogs took over the world.
Do you think dogs would create like prosthetic? Do you think dogs would create a prosthetic to where they would have an opposable thumb?
Maybe.
And like everyone could buy them and they were mass produced. and then if you were young or poor or something, your parents wouldn't get you a nice opposable thumb. So you had to go buy like a $7.99 one from the dollar store, and you're like,
that would be funny.
My freaking thumb doesn't even work.
My thumb keeps breaking.
I think that sounds about right. I would agree with that. So you think like the humans would...
I think the humans would like turn into slaves.
Yeah. So they wouldn't be treated well.
They might be if they were in the right family. Just like your dog might be.
Yeah.
If it was in the right family.
But because your storyline sounds like there's like a lot of hidden anger between the dogs. Like coming from the dogs.
Yeah.
Which would make sense for them to become enslaved by the dogs, because there's so much anger and like mistreatment.
Kind of like iRobot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But opposite.
Oh, yeah.
And the humans are the robots.
Yeah.
And the humans are the robots in the beginning of the story, and the dogs are the robots in the end of the story.
Yeah.
It's very like iRobot, but completely different. Okay, so in this hypothetical, there are the other animal standings. I think that...
Oh, I have a question.
What?
Are dogs taking over authority just in America right now? Or are they taking over all over the world?
Probably all over the world.
I feel like it would be very difficult for them to conquer the world all at once.
I guess you have a point.
So I think they would start in like one country, and then maybe it would inspire a species in another country to take over their government.
Maybe. I think that cats are too complacent. They wouldn't really care.
But everyone has like the stereotype that cats are evil.
As long as they're taken care of, I don't think cats really care.
Yeah. They are pretty nonchalant.
Fish obviously can't do anything.
They would just like not let anyone into the ocean.
Yeah.
And if you tried to eat them, which many people do, and they hunt the whales, the whales would just
I think the whales would start fighting back.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the whales would get a waterproof version of the dog's voice box.
Yeah.
And communicate that way, and just kind of crush all the ships.
Yeah. Because
humans would not be able to make ships anymore, probably.
Yep.
So they would either be allies with those ships, like whatever other species, or they would not be.
I think all of the animals would kind of band together.
There's got to be some that hate each other, though. For sure.
You have to, what is it? Your enemy is a, how does that saying go? Oh, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. I was thinking about something like your worst enemy is your best resource, but I don't think that's something people say.
No.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yes.
Yes. That's what I think would
So basically, if we want world peace, the animals have to take over.
Yeah. I don't know how peaceful it would be, though. Because then you have, like, zoo animals who hate everything.
Well, zoos would be ended. So those animals would probably
Do you think humans would end up in zoos?
Yes, 100%.
I think so, too.
And I think the zoo animals would create a terrorist organization.
Do you think Bigfoot would come out of hiding? and the Loch Ness Monster.
Yes,
all of those fishy lake creatures.
Because they're so rare, I feel like they're probably more powerful.
I think maybe they're like the wise old
I feel
tree
like
from Pocahontas.
I feel like dragons would come back.
I feel like dragons would come back too.
And it would be so awesome. I would do anything to be a dragon's person.
I would too.
I
Same.
would be like, let me take care of your little dragon babies. I love dragons. I've always loved the idea of dragons.
That's for another podcast. Though.
Right. Do you think, if we're talking about mythical creatures real quick and ruling the world, would, like, mermaids be considered humans or creatures?
Oh, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm. And fairies?
Fairies, I think fae folk would, which includes mermaids and fairies, I think those would eventually rise to power.
Yeah, because they're the in-between.
Because they are the in-between.
They would be like the bureaucrats.
Yep. Man, that would be a crazy reality.
Yeah, and it would make a great movie.
It would make it...
Well, not like a movie. I think that would be a better book series, actually.
I think so, too, for sure.
Gotta write a book.
Yep. All right. Any takers?
We'll sell you the idea for about $100 million.
Yep. Speaking of animals and ruling the world, I did a little bit of research.
I'm excited. Do you want me, or do you want to preface the topic?
I'm prefacing the topic, mummies.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Here we go. I did a whole bunch of Egyptian research.
I'm very excited about this.
I was like, animals ruling the world? Cats used to rule Egypt, basically. And they were definitely worshipped because Egypt had a cat goddess named Bastet.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another one named Maftet. But Bastet was the only, because they believed that gods and goddesses could turn themselves into animals. And Bastet was the only goddess that could turn into a cat.
Oh.
So...
Is she the most powerful?
She was, basically. So cats were, like, magical, and they would bring good luck to their cat owners. And so, she was, like, I think it was kind of like, Greek gods and goddesses where, like, each city would have a different god that they worshipped the most.
Yeah.
I think that this was in a city sort of Bastet. It sounded like Bastet, but it wasn't Bastet.
Oh, so they, like, kind of named the city after her?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, that makes sense, like Athens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And cats weren't the only, like,
revered creature?
Yes, revered.
Because I know that I've seen...
Dogs are valued for their ability to, like, protect and hunt, so in, like, hieroglyphs and stuff, a lot of protectors have dog heads.
And I think, is it Ra that has the eagle head?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Also, fun fact, cat owners, when their cat would die, they would shave their eyebrows off and mourn their cat's death until their eyebrows grew back.
I recently found out that eyebrows, fun fact, don't grow back for at least 6 months, possibly a year.
You have to mourn your cat for that long.
That is a long time.
That is a long time.
That is serious commitment to your love of your cat.
It's a serious commitment. Cats would get, like, dressed up and stuff. If you were, like, a rich cat, if you were, like, a pet cat of a rich family, you'd get, like, nice jewels and stuff.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That makes me think of the PBS show I used to watch when I was little. The cats were not from Egypt. They were from Asia. But they had jewels.
Which leads me into more Egypt things.
Yeah.
Mummies.
I wonder if I'm sure there has to have been found, like, a cat mummy.
Yes, cats actually were mummified. Animals were mummified. Let me just tell you how they mummified people.
Please, I'm sure it is a very long process.
It's a very long process. Step 1, you put that little stick thing in your nose and you should yank those brains out.
Oh yeah, everyone hears about that.
Get those the heck out of there. You make a cut on the left side of the body.
For when I want to mummify people.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be this specific.
You make a cut on the left side of the body, next to the tummy, and you pull out all the organs. Get those the heck out of there. You let the organs dry, and then you place the lungs, stomach, and liver into cantopic jars, which are those fancy urn-looking things.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they would wrap the organs after they dried and put them back in the body, but typically that was only done with the heart.
Okay.
So on a basic mummification, you would put all of the heart, you would put the heart in the body, and you would put the lungs, stomach, and liver in those jars.
Okay.
You rinse it down with wine and spices.
Like smelling nice.
Smelling nice. You cover it with salt for 70 days.
That's a long time. Do you know if they just sat it in a lot of salt that covered it, or did they like keep pouring salt on it?
Didn't say.
Okay.
They probably kept having to like.
It would.
Yeah. Probably would like fall off. They would have to like check it every day and make sure it had salt in it.
Into the person.
Yeah.
Absorb.
After 40 days, you stuff the body with sand or linen to give it more of like a body shape. And then at the end of the 7 days, you would wrap the body with bandages. And then you put it in the sarcophagus.
Mm-mm.
Why did they mummify people, may you ask?
I do.
Because there was a fable, I suppose you could call it, where Osiris and Isis... Osiris was the pharaoh, and he was married to Isis.
Yeah, Isis, I think she's like the goddess of rainbows or something.
I'm not sure.
No, that is Iris.
Anyway, Seth was Osiris's jealous brother, and he was a little bit passive-aggressive. He was like, I'm gonna take my brother down.
Jeez.
So he built this very elaborate, beautiful, beautiful box.
Mm-hmm.
Said, hey guys, I'm gonna have a contest. Whoever can fit perfectly into this box wins. And everybody was like, what do we win? And he was like, you just win, okay? Play the game. And they were like, okay. And so nobody fit. It got to Osiris, and he was like, hey, I fit perfectly. And Seth slammed the sarcophagus box closed and nailed it shut and sent him down the Nile.
Oh my gosh.
And then Isis was like, I can't find my husband. I'm so heartbroken. And spent like years looking for him. And Seth was like, crap, I'm gonna get caught.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta find Osiris first. So we found him first. He opened the box back up, cut him into tiny little pieces, and scattered him through the four corners of the earth. Because, you know, the earth is flat.
Yeah. It's so flat.
Isis eventually found all of his little pieces.
Oh my gosh. Devoted woman.
Yeah. Wrapped him back up. Assembled his pieces and wrapped him back up with bandages. And he came back and he was like, woman, I love you. Thank you for fixing me. But I gotta move on to the next life so I can become a god, okay? I can't just stay here forever.
Oh.
So then that happened.
And funny you mentioned he came back to life after he was wrapped in bandages?
Yeah, because they were magic. Isis was magic.
Oh.
Well, they were very powerful. They were a very powerful magical couple.
That sounds nice. Wish I was one of those.
Hashtag same.
But that kind of makes me think about, like, our whole reason for looking into mummies was, one, it's October. Two...
One, it's October and we heart spooky.
Yeah. Two, why the heck do all these scary movies, when it's involving a mummy, does the mummy come back to life? And why is there, like, a worrying about it?
I've got an answer for you.
Woohoo!
And you might not like it.
Oh, no.
I was disappointed.
Is it lame?
It's lame. So, here's behind the mummy's curse.
Mm-hmm.
It all started when they found Tutankhamun's burial grounds.
Okay.
His little pyramid thing.
Oh, yeah? His little pyramid.
His little pyramid thing.
Mm-hmm.
Carter found it in 1922-ish and opened it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bum, bum, bum. And his canary was swallowed that day by a cobra. And
cobra? Okay.
Yeah. Cobras are protectors. So they were like, man, this tomb is protected.
Mm-hmm.
My canary just got swallowed by this cobra. It's a sign. And then also the monetary support. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Let me see.
Carnarvon. Anyway, he died within 6 weeks after the tomb was opened.
And he was the what support?
The monetary support. He was you found this tomb, I'm going to give you as much money as you need to open.
Oh, monetary.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Anyway, they think maybe it could be possible to have a curse because of, like, bacteria from the body. If you, like, open that up and it's been, like, in that air, you might fall ill. But Carter lived, like, 20 years after the tomb was opened.
Yeah,
So, no sign of a curse here. It was most likely invented from, like, the Victorian era, when they would find mummies and, like, have spooky shows where they would unravel a mummy.
Oh.
It was all very mystical, and, you know, that was when seances and stuff were popular. Most likely, a mummy showing inspired Jane London Webb to write about mummies and coming back to life.
Oh, okay.
So she wrote, like, one book about a mummy coming back to life, and then she wrote another book about some guy being turned into a living mummy. Kind of lame. Mummies don't actually come back to life. There's actually not even any evidence of Egyptians believing in a mummy curse.
Oh, like a reanimation. No evidence of that.
No evidence of it. They do it because they think that, eventually they think that the soul will come back for the body, and the body needs to be able to recognize it. But that's, like, the amount that there is. Like, even all of the hieroglyphs and everything are very, like, protective and, like, have a good afterlife.
Yeah.
You know, like hags kind of thing. Have a good summer, if you don't know what that spells.
Yeah. That's really interesting. And I wonder if she maybe researched the reason and found the fable. And maybe, like...
Maybe. They might have, like, done that whole spiel that I just did while they were opening this mummy.
Yeah.
Apparently they, like, destroyed a ton of mummies back in that era because they would just, like, unravel them all.
Yeah, stupid people.
Stupid Victorians.
Yeah, it's because, like, we are still probably doing, like, our scientists and things like that, and just people in general are doing stupid things right now that are considered so normal and fine.
Yeah.
And then in, like, 20 years or even 10 years, they'll be like, man.
Stupid.
Yeah, kind of like how people were, like, so fine with smoking in the 70s and 60s and 80s.
Yeah, it was just freaking, it was healthy in the 50s, right?
Yeah, it was, like, good for you. Like, I think they
had... Have a cigarette.
I think they had, like, ads with doctors in them saying it was fine. I'm almost certain I've seen one of those. That's really cool, though, that you found that much research about it.
Yeah.
And
I found it all within, like, 30 minutes, too. It was actually a relatively easy topic.
That's really cool. Didn't have to surf through lots of...
Didn't have to surf through lots of stories. There were actually, like, no stories. All of this stuff is from, like, nationalgeographic.com.
That's cool. That's a good source, too.
It's a good source.
I think it would be cool to one day maybe... Like, when we talk about Roman gods and Greek gods, we could talk about the Egyptian gods, too.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting podcast.
Because I think people forget about them.
I think so, too.
I kind of did until I remembered. Well...
I loved that show, Tut from Discovery
Oh my
Kids.
gosh, I remember that show.
That was such a good show.
It was funny. I think it was, like, you probably didn't mind it, but he's, like, dead, so he kind of falls apart sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty gross, right?
No, he would just unravel and his hand would fall off.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
It wasn't a very, like, detailed cartoon.
Yeah. Okay, then that's fine. I think I did like it, but I just, like, remember it vaguely, so, like, the only thing I remember is, like, his hand falling off.
His hand would just, like, fall off and a couple, like, some dust would fall out. It wasn't
okay. I wasn't
like,
sure if it was, like, green goop or anything.
Gross. No, he would just kind of, like, fall. His eyes were, like, green.
Green, yeah.
And he had his, like, or did the girl have a cat?
I think it was his.
I think it was his cat.
And I think that I really, like, appreciated that he was kid-sized.
I did, too. What, isn't...
He was 8, I think, or 12. 8 or 12, in that age. I think maybe he was 8 when he became king.
Yeah, he was very young. He, in, like, real-life story, Pharaoh. He was really young.
Yeah.
Right?
I've seen pictures of his actual, like, mummy body.
I think it would be cool to have, like, a show just about, like, Egyptian legends.
Yeah, and I think it would be cool. I think they need more Egyptian cartoons in America.
I think they do, too.
Kids need to know, okay?
I need to know about the pyramids.
Feel like I was left out. I mean, Joseph, King of Dreams is great, but it's not educational outside of the Bible.
Yeah.
And I watched that show many times. So that is how limited.
I've never even heard of it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised, but it's just basically the story of Joseph.
Anyway,
now we're back on the podcast.
Now we're back on the podcast, and I think that was it.
Yeah. So
it's a quick podcast today, guys, because I kind of suck in all my Egyptian research. I forgot to do my Would You Watch That, and since it's Halloween, we don't really have time.
Yeah, we've got
to look it up.
Some things.
We've got some spooky movies to watch and some candy to eat. I'm sure you guys will respect that.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then, we don't want you kind of listening.
If you have qualms, please don't DM us about it. Yeah. Unless they are educational qualms.
Yeah.
And be nice.
Yeah. Also, follow us on Instagram, @LittleBloomStudio, @LittleBloom.studio. Sorry, my bad. Follow us on SoundCloud.
Yeah, we've been getting a couple new followers, and we see you. We're very happy you're here.
We are very happy you're here. I look at them, and I'm like, ah!
Yeah, who's that?
Yay! What else do they need to follow us on? Is that it?
Yeah, for now, that's it. We also have the Etsy shop.
We also have the Etsy shop, but
There's nothing on there yet.
There's nothing on there.
But you can follow it for future reference.
Yeah, and I'm making it my week's goal next week to get both a Twitter and a Patreon.
Okay.
With or without your help, Harper.
Oh gosh. Okay. Patreon, I'll do that. Promise.
All right. Catch you guys later.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Happy
Look
Halloween.
Look out for some new changes. Happy Halloween, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because you're going to hear this on Thursday. Ooh, spooky, we're in the future.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh, I have to have that off.
Okay, so here's the deal.
And da 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 da.